I want to introduce you to the law offices of Vincent W. Davis at 888-888-6582. They're advocates for the rights of parents, grandparents, and guardians in juvenile dependency courts. Losing a child to a DCFS CPS social worker based on an anonymous call, complaint, or your ex-spouse is not only horrific, but it's commonplace. Everyone will agree that there's nothing more valuable than one's child. You cannot afford to fight this alone. Call the law offices of Vincent W. Davis at 888-888-6582. Connect with an attorney today. That's 888-888-6582. Get your kids back.
My mic. Hi, this is Fight CPS with Cassandra. I have a guest today, Justin, and he's going to tell his story about how he was in foster care and the horrific things he went through with the system. If you would like to start, you can go ahead and start.
All right, everybody. First off, I really don't like talking about this stuff, but I've been having multiple death threats for speaking out against the pharmaceutical drugs that I was on, and the lawsuits that came out about them, and the documents that they shredded, and the money that I was never able to receive. I had people threaten to blow up my car in person. I've been gang stalked. I've been followed by multiple people with military plates, 10 at a time. It was not coincidence. They're zooming into me. So if anybody else out there has been a victim of gang stalking, before I start, I'd like to give one. If there's anything you guys should watch, it's the Imagination podcast. Megan Walsh and Penny A. Shepherd. I believe Megan Walsh was a daughter of John Walsh from America's Most Wanted, and he was involved in trafficking her kids through revenge. Supposedly, he was a part of a bunch of corruption, and somehow Megan Walsh's brother got killed, and they found his head. So their own family killed each other because they were exposing the corruption, and they go into a lot of stuff. So I highly recommend that. I'm going to say that one more time. It's the Imagination podcast with Megan Walsh and Penny L.A. Shepherd. And if you type that in, Megan Walsh and Penny L.A. Shepherd, America's Most Wanted, John Walsh trafficked my children.
Yeah, I've actually heard about that. I actually was watching something about that on another Facebook platform.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm gonna start from age 2. And I don't know who my real family is, but let's just say that the information that they gave me, supposedly my real mom's name was Marsha Bonus. So I was taken from her because she refused to take her pharmaceutical drugs. This is what I was told. I believe the reason from my uncle JR told me that she was growing marijuana in the backyard, which was, illegal in Iowa back in 1994. So she was a single mom, and they came in with guns and bulletproof vests, i.e. the police, and ripped me from her and put me, I guess I got shuffled around multiple foster homes. I don't have a lot of memory before age 10. I believe that a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs that I got put on after that kind of just destroyed my memory. Or I also have a hypothesis that it's possible that I was groomed in that foster family, which I'll tell about. They understand how to hack the body, the human body, and cause memory. And it's called grooming. Pretty much grooming people for abuse. You've heard about this from like Hollywood, all this other stuff. But I felt this way before I even ever came across any of this stuff online. So I do remember the most traumatic experiences because I had so many traumatic experiences. It's just in my memory. So I'll just share all the traumatic experiences I had. So I remember I do have some memories of the foster family that they put me in, and I'm gonna give the names of the foster family. If that's is that fine?
Oh,
James.
I'm not sure if that's okay, so I'm gonna say not right now.
Okay.
I'd have
They,
to ask. Yeah,
okay.
I
So
think
they were both state workers. The father that adopted me was in the Navy Seabees, high-ranking Seabees, and the mother was a student counselor. How does your student counselor of elementary school um, get kids sent away after they run away from abuse into the state system? That's a very odd question. So anyway, the abuse that entailed was a lot of I remember being thrown across the coffee table when I was 6 years old. Um, I remember being smacked all the time. I remember being mentally abused. I remember that after um, I had run away, I got locked up in a hospital, and they tried to tell me that I had a bunch of problems. I never told them that I was hearing voices, but the psychologist um, put me on a bunch of SSRIs and antipsychotics at age 10, and I never heard voices. What I was telling them was the truth of what was happening to me, and so they probably just tried to say that I was crazy for that, when actually I was being abused. I also think it's possible that they sexually abused me and my other sister, because when I was watching a movie with my other sister that was adopted, she got down under the bed and pulled out these pornographic magazines that somehow she had known were there. Um, so I don't remember being sexually abused in that home because I don't have a lot of memory. All I remember is the hard physical abuse, having to stand on my tippy toes for 10 minutes at a time. If I my if it hit the ground, I'd have to start all over, and I'd get beat. Um, I'd have to drink vinegar. Um, I got thrown outside naked in the snow for 10 minutes one time. A lot of stuff I don't remember, but a lot of abuse happened, and I ran away. So after that, also they had begun to put me on pharmaceuticals. So after that, I got sent away. Am I able to say the institution where I was sent away to? That should be fair.
my producer told me no names. She put it in the chat to say no names, but I'm not sure. I don't. Let me
Well, there's
ask.
five. There's five names. One, two, three, four. There's five institutions that I was put into
Wow.
as a kid in Iowa, and Iowa's not that big of a place, so I guess I don't even really need to give the names. Um, but the first one I do remember being sexually abused in there. I was I'm just going to be graphic with it. I was raped in my ass by staff and children. I was forced to suck a penis as well, and I saw this happen to other children as well. Um, and when I tried to run away, they would restrain me, and I remember many times being locked in a room where I had to piss and shit in the corner. And I was so angry, I kept punching the glass and trying to get out of that room for hours. I remember for 2, 3 hours at a time trying to run down that door because I was trying to get away. Um, it it was hell. It was absolutely hell. I don't have very many memories from that place other than lots of that stuff happening. What I just said. So after that, was able to go back to the adoptive family because I remember it was so much hell there. I just wanted to go get out of there. And I remember that the same stuff happened. And then we moved to a new town, a small town in Iowa. Was even worse at that time. While I was locked up, they had already adopted 3 new children. Somehow the state gave them 3 new children after I was already in that place, and they had me drugged up. One that had mental health, mental retardation or mild retardation, and 2 girls. I guess the 2 girls got adopted right before I ran away. And when I went back there, they were abusing them. I remember them getting abused just like me. I don't remember any of this sexual abuse. All I remember is very bad mental abuse, physical abuse in that home. Crazy things that would make me do is scrub the whole bathroom with a toothbrush and laugh at me and kind of push me down. And for some reason, I never did it right, so I had to write 5,000 sentences and be locked in my room. So this was very, very bad. So at school, I ran away. I ran away again, and then I got put in to another place. And this new place is where the drugs really started to hammer me. And I'm pretty sure I can say the names of the drugs because everybody knows the names of the drugs. And these are only the ones I remember. But Adderall, Thorazine, Seroquel, Resveratrol, Clozaril, Zoloft, Paxil, Lithium, Lexapro, Ritalin, Prozac, Abilify, and Trazodone. These are the only ones that I remember because they would say, time to get your Skittles, kids. Come and get your Skittles, and if you don't take your meds, you're going to get punished for it. A lot of kids would cheat their pills. Some of the kids would give their pills to other kids who liked the pills as well. This often happened. And of course, in this new place, more sexual abuse, more beatings, locked inside, just treated like cattle or like slaves. I don't know how to explain it, but it was not very nice. All while being drugged on heavy tranquilizers, SSRIs, drugs that if one of the staff messed up, and staff would often forget or not come in to be able to give kids their medications. And some of those medications, the side effects of not taking them were suicide. This happened at least once a week. Kids would not get their meds on time. And I did a lot of research. A lot of these drugs should not be mixed together. They're very hepatotoxic to the liver, to the kidneys, and especially during the development of a child, they can destroy puberty and cause all types of problems, lifelong problems. I'm going to say for the record, I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't even smoke marijuana. I've been able to transcend PTSD and trauma through breathing meditation, extreme gratitude, breath alchemy. It's where emotions are energy in motion. So your thoughts create your emotions, your energy in motion. So what you think about will become manifest. Your brain's like a chemical pharmacy. And I've been talking about this stuff in lots of stuff. Anyway, that stuff went all the way to happen. I believe that it's possible that I was a victim of MK Ultra as well because they played music for us. I will tell you the names of these music now. Real gangbanger shit, real hood stuff. Like I was put in there So let me tell you, because I was the staff there were very thuggish too, and they played these kind of music for us. That's why I can talk with the lingo. In fact, I used to want to be a rapper when I was a kid, and my lyrics were quite violent, about killing people, when I was 12 years old, 12 to 18 years old, from the music and the movies that they played for us. So the names of the records that we were listening to were Slipknot, which is they talk about a lot of crazy stuff. That's a rock, where they wear. You guys can look that up. The Game. I remember this song. Electroconvulsion Therapy Type 2. Go dig, go dig, put them on the track. And I saw the staff acting like that when they're beating us. And I have some of that, those, you want to call them demons or memories in me, because when I was getting beat to my knees and jumped in those institutions, I drew off the energy of these songs to save my life, because I they were so angry, and it was a confusion. Also, plies, which is like I'm hiding out behind the bushes with my chopper, which chopper is slang for gun. Mac Dre, which I ended up doing some research. I guess he brought LSD to California. Hypnotized Minds Can't Posse. Hypnotized Minds Can't Posse. So like this was ingrained in me. I feel like I was MK Ultra. Like you can see that I'm it's easy to come out because I have all this anger and this. I used to have a lot of vengeance, but I let go of the vengeance, because most of those friends that I was with are either dead, in prison, um, or strung out on drugs. And I think I kept in touch with over 40 of those kids, got phone numbers, and all of them did not turn out well. I think I'm one of the only few that ever was able to own my own business. I was very successful at one point, but that is because of faith, faith that I came across, and just focusing on the positive. I found a lot of mentors after I was released at 18, and I always had an internal compass about what was right and what was wrong. And even though I had a lot of you want to call it demonic, because I don't want to say demonic because that's religious and that might turn certain people off, but like lower vibrational uh, energy in my life, I never fell into that trap. But I almost feel like now I'm going to get into the videos that they played for us as early as age 10. A lot of assassin movies. They played a lot of assassin movies for us. Eon Flux was a movie, assassin movie. Electra, James Bond movies, all those. The Rambo movies, Rambo's First Blood. Terminator movies. They always wanted us to watch the Terminator movies. The Umbrella Corp movies, Deathlands, Resident Evil, a lot of sexual movies like American Pie. I remember watching Dude, Where's My Car? The only movies I really ever liked were Jim Carrey, which was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and When Nature Calls. They also had us watch The Longest Yard a lot, and a lot of alien movies, stuff like this. I don't know if they were purposely trying to MK Ultra us, or they were purposely trying to hire those staff, or they just couldn't afford to hire anybody but college kids that were going to college. This is where I can't prove if it was a conspiracy or just absolute just idiocracy. Is that idiocracy? So I don't want to get into the conspiracy stuff. However, when I was 18, life was amazing. I remember one time, and I'm not suicidal. I can tell you that. I love my life. I love my life. I have my own YouTube channel called Spiritual Fitness Evolution, where I put out there positivity, love, and light. And I will never kill myself. Never. I love life. And I have to put that out there because I've had a lot of gang stalkers that say, you better be careful, you're going to end up dead. I've had people threaten to blow up my car. I've been telling a lot of people online and offline about this. And this is my 30-minute pitch that I was doing when I was getting signatures for political canvassing grassroots. After they signed up, be like, hey, look, I've been banned on Facebook 12 times now. I feel like I'm being gang stalked on Facebook. I was a victim. They illegally trafficked me through CPS through my mother. I was a victim, and I used this name, which I think really pissed them off on why the death threats came. But I said because I had a lot of anger. The pharmaceutical cartel drugged me on over 15 plus pharmaceuticals, and over 5 of them have lawsuits against them. And the parents of the family that supposedly adopted me, that loved me, that was abusing me, wouldn't even help me to get $250,000. Now that's kind of weird. When they always complained about how much money I costed, and then I just literally just gave them a gold platter of whatever $250,000 divided by 2 is, to just to give me some documents and help me and be supportive, that they wouldn't go for that. And then also when I send all these things to my father, he says, oh, I'm in the military, I can't look into that stuff. So it almost makes me feel like that adoptive father was somehow grooming me. And then I also found out that they make more money on kids if the kid can end up having a disability or being put on the pharmaceutical drugs. I also found out that back in the day, doctors were getting kickbacks. It's also to be noted that those institutions shredded my documents because they were only able to keep them for 7 years. They only had to keep them for 7 years. So it's been pretty crappy. I also feel in my last institution, they had Hell's Angels come in and talk to us about God, ex-Hell's Angels. And pretty much, I ended up going to that church, and I'm not saying that guy wasn't changed, but he used to be locked up in a prison in California. I think it was by San Diego or San Francisco. But anyway, there was a girl in the church that tried to set me up to have sex with her in her parents' house that was underage, and I told her no. And then my friend, I had another friend that was in the church, was talking crap about her. I guess she had told me a story that she was being molested by the church member who had a huge collection of Darth Vader. And I won't say her name. But anyway, when I told her no, that I want to have sex with her, and first off, I said, no, you're underage. And 2, why would you want me to have sex with you when you're underage? When we're downstairs in your parents' house. So anyway, I ended up getting in with some of those people at the church and started drinking. They kind of, and then I told them I was drunk and I don't want to come to the house. They said, oh, you'll be all right. It's only so far down the road. So I got to the house and there were the cops there waiting for me. So that's when I got my first underage. I actually only blew 0.06, but because I was underage and I had alcohol, so I believe I was set up, and that was in Boone, Iowa. And so, yeah, I feel like they've always had an eye on me, whether that be through the internet, these types of systems that are used. It's been pretty fucking crazy. Excuse my French. I'm just gonna do a little bit of breath alchemy real quick.
Okay. I'm just gonna talk for a minute. I actually agree with you about the whole pharmaceutical thing. Like, my kids are in CPS custody right now. They're trying to get my daughters to take all these ADHD drugs and stuff like that. And they do get more money for kids that have disabilities or kids that they think have disabilities, that they could give them drugs and it makes them better. Or putting in for TPR, which is or not a TPR, an ST, I think it's an STPR or something like that. It's like a therapeutical group home where they will get more money for the kids that are in that group home than kids that are in a regular set foster home. And so I totally understand what you're talking about with that. Yeah, that they, it's true, they do that, and you're proof, right in front of everybody. Like, this is proof that CPS does do child trafficking. They do messed up things with pharmaceutical drugs, trying to get our kids to take drugs that they don't need, misdiagnosing, and they're thinking it's okay and they get away with it. And he's not the only story I've heard of. Like, I've seen plenty of stories on TikTok and Facebook and the podcast he was talking about at the beginning. I've seen it all. I've seen more stories just like his. I've seen more stories, and it just, people are coming out now and saying things more and more. And I just want everybody to realize that, yes, this does happen. You're, and it's, the most important thing is to get your kids back into your custody as soon as possible so stuff like this doesn't happen. There was the Turpin kids that were abused by their parents, and then as soon as they got placed into a foster home, they got abused by their foster parents. And that's on the news. That was on the news. It wasn't really main news, because they try to hide stuff like that from everybody and think that everything in foster care is just, oh, all fun and games, but it's not. Kids are getting devastated. Kids are getting put in these foster homes and taken from their families and not having that family connection anymore, and they're doing it on purpose. So the best thing to do is get your kids back into your custody as soon as possible and know what you're doing. Like, contact a lawyer, do the things that your lawyer tells you to do once you hire that lawyer. Don't try to do your own thing. Don't listen to these advocates. Don't do any of that stuff, because this is the most important thing to you, is your children.
And this is where it comes down to. So they're going to try to do everything that they can to break you down, break down your morale. This is called psychological warfare. A couple books that everybody should read is, number one, Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. Also, you're going to need more financial resources to get helps from these lawyers. And if you can pay the lawyer more money, if you can become a business owner, why not give an extra bonus to the lawyer? These guys are going up against the most satanic systems. They have a lot of balls.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm going to tell you guys this: crowdfunding. You have to learn. Number one, you have to go to Toastmasters Association. You have to get involved through Toastmasters. You have to learn to be able to speak and feel your personal power, feel grounded, but serene, not aggressive, because they'll try to use dark psychology and flip things on you. You should also read the book Dark Psychology, because there's all these books that explain how sociopathic and psychopaths use manipulation tactics. And if you're smarter and you know all the weaponry that they have at their disposal, you're much better off. I also highly recommend checking out the book 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Tools of the Titans by Tim Ferriss. Because a lot of these people that are in these situations, they don't have the mental fortitude to even sometimes keep a job. But because once you get your children taken away, I think that I would consider that the reason I got a letter in the mail when I was 15 years old that said that my mother was deceased. Well, that's and I'm going to bust out the system again for sexism. They want to say his story, mankind, manslaughter. Well, I'm going to switch and not call it that. I think that it was involuntary manslaughter, but it was voluntary woman slaughter, to not be sexist, but for the legal term, it was voluntary. They should be held accountable for my mother's death. When you rip someone's child from them and then put that woman in giving them electric shock therapy which was proven that that was part of the MK Ultra experiments, I could only think that a kid that was taken away from a lady that they were giving shock therapy to was probably involved in MK Ultra. Not to mention all the war videos that they had us do in the military recruiters that were there that were running us through boot camps and trying to get us to join the military. So, you know, shots fired. You guys have already threatened to blow up my vehicle, which is currently my home, because I choose to live this way, because I'm not going to spend $3,000. It's human rights violations out here all over California. If you're not affected by this, you should still be helping, because it is not cool to charge $3,000 for apartments in California. And if you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, who also said they're going to kill him for talking about the financial stuff on the internet, supposedly, that yeah, I save my money. I work part-time because, you know, I have a lot of PTSD only when I'm talking about this stuff for the most part, but I have a lot of anger. You know, anger doesn't serve you. That's why you got to do your breath alchemy, a deep breath. You can't have 100% love for your enemies, but if you can kind of visualize your enemy coming through the heart space, and you just have that imagination. You know, I go back and forth with dualism. Like, I've told my story, and they're like, how could you have love for your enemies? We should be hunting these people down. And I'm like, whoa, calm down. You know, what you put out there comes back. So, you know, I try to have love for my enemies, but I don't think that we can love what they're doing. And we sure as hell can't. Here's the thing. They can't kill us all. They can't kill us all. So I'm glad that I got this out there. And this is what we need to do. We need to go to YouTube VidCon. We need to crowdfund $1,000 to get 10,000 flyers, and then get on all these YouTube channels that have 1 million plus subscribers. Because these videos will get, all we have to tell the YouTubers is, hey, this is a story. This is a story. You're going to put this on YouTube. This is going to blow up. And you know, YouTubers make money. So that's what I'm thinking. We get a group of 1,000 people that have been abused to the system. We all get shirts. We get big signs, and we go into YouTube headquarters and we just pass out flyers that has all the stuff that we're talking about. And I also want to hope that the Imagination podcast with Megan Walsh and Penny A.L.A. Shepherd, America's Most Wanted with John Walsh, Traffic My Children, it needs, for sure, no matter what, to get 10 million views within this year. Because there's a lot of loving people out there that aren't affected, and the more people that know will help us out.
Yeah.
Because I've met so many people in my life that despite all the reasons where I could have become one of the worst human beings in the entire world, based upon what happened to me and based upon what they were trying to use me for. I've even recently, I got to tell, I feel like I've been gang stalked by sheriff cars. I felt like I've been working very hard on a campaign, getting signatures for a campaign. And I went out to buy an all-wheel drive Chevy Express. Something I didn't think that I could afford one at the time, because right now you need about $20,000 to get one. And it would be a lot better than what I'm currently living in, which is a little bit too small for me. But I feel like not only have I been banned or shadow banned on Facebook over 12 times, but I feel like the people, when I'm going to buy vehicles now, that these are literally the gang stalkers. So I don't even feel safe. I've had people threaten to kill me. So this story needs to go, everybody needs to share this to at least 100 people. Everybody needs to be telling 10 people a day about what's happening to them that are victims. everybody needs to understand what influencer marketing is. Influencer marketing is where you find people in your community that have the highest amount of influence and have the biggest reach and spectrum. And then that is how you're going to get the money to be able to pay your lawyer and then some.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and then some.
I'm going to cut you off right there. I'm sorry because we're out of time. But I would love to have you as a guest again and share your story again if you would like. But we got to go. Thank you for being a guest, and hopefully I can see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So this video is going to go on
Several different platforms.
Would you be able to message me those platforms? I'm sorry that I've been like really
Yeah,
aggressive on taking most of the time, but
it's okay. That's what the show was for. It was for you to get your story out.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Cassandra.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Do this.
Bye.
Get children back and don't let them be raped and abused.